So last weekend we started the Ergonomic Desk Setup build series. I was a little bit bored by the standard up and down motion that most setups offer these days, and that being it for adjustability in terms of ergonomics. And so I wanted to create a control surface that somewhat moves with your seating position. So the idea here is that in the morning I usually have a more active seating position where I sit upright and I want to do some deep focus work. In the evening I'm usually quite tired, but I still want to do some stuff, right? I still want to be a little bit more productive than I am right now. And usually I lay back in my chair. The setup doesn't really move with you in that case. And with this design, we'll be implementing 3D printed inserts with all of the control interfaces in a fixed position. So we'll have that muscle memory, but we can also make the control surface move down with us. So when I'm lying down, it's still comfortable. But so when we're on the topic of ergonomics, the chair is also really quite important. I get a ton of sponsorship requests for chair reviews and dedicated videos on chairs. I say no to pretty much all of them, except this time around. So keep that in mind, this is not a review of any kind, this is more of a showcase of this product and my experience with it so far as it implements with the Desk Setup build series. And so the chair that we're talking about is the LiberNovo Omni, and this video is also sponsored by LiberNovo. And the reason that I accepted this sponsorship is because they have some really unique features on this chair that I just wanted to check out, and I just wanted to verify for myself, like, is this actually awesome? Is it a gimmick? Is it comfortable? What is this chair all about? The package that you receive is really quite small, and that's because the entire chair still needs to be assembled. Some other chairs do come fully assembled when they ship, but that means the box is a lot larger as well. So it comes in a couple different colors like black and grey, and the mossy green version that I have here is also a little bit cheaper. Now, the first impressions that I had when I was unboxing this thing and assembling it all is that most of the components are made out of plastic, which is not necessarily a bad thing. So most of the stuff is made out of really hard plastic that also seems to be quite rugged and strong. In terms of the actual backrest and the seat itself, that's actually quite important because plastic somewhat moves with you and metallic parts don't. So there's a lot of electronic components that need to be connected properly, and that will allow the lumbar support to function. So at the back here we have a USB-C cable that plugs into the bottom segment. Something interesting that I noticed when I was assembling this thing is that there's a lot of components on this chair which interconnect certain components. So when you recline the entire chair, the armrests also move backwards with that. And that's the first time I've actually seen a chair do this, so that's really neat. What's also really noteworthy is that the entire backrest is really flexible in a way, so this actually moves with your body. If you're moving from side to side, you'll see the entire thing flex a lot, and that actually helps with ergonomics as well. So the thing that actually makes this dynamic is that all of these components are connected, so you'll see that the armrests move backwards as I move the chair backwards as well. I was just shocked by how comfortable it is. I wasn't expecting it to be that good. I have had chairs in the past which claim are ergonomic and they just don't feel good at all. They make you sit in a very strange position. And this one actually felt like it was supporting my body in a way that I felt comfortable. Now the last component that we're implementing over here is the battery module. And that sounds kind of strange. Why would you have a battery module on a chair? So on the armrest over here we have lumbar support up and lumbar support down. And then this is the decompression or massage mode as they call it. Of course, in the context of the setup itself, it's really nice to have that electronic lumbar support because you're going to be moving positions quite a lot. So in the evening, we're probably going to be working a little bit more relaxed, and actually adjusting the lumbar support with this button over here makes that a lot more accessible than if you have to reach all the way behind you and adjust it in this way. And I know that that sounds absolutely ridiculous when I hear myself saying that out loud, like I'm justifying this really expensive gimmick on a chair, but I actually really appreciate this also because if you have a normal chair with normal lumbar support, you often reach behind yourself to adjust it. And in this position, you can't actually feel if the lumbar support is in a proper spot, right? They say the battery lasts about 6 months and you can actually recharge it with a USB-C cable when it's disconnected from the chair. That's a big thing. I really appreciate that you have to disconnect it from the chair, because if you don't, then you're probably going to be sitting on a chair, moving it forward and then snapping a USB-C cable. One of the things that I would like to see from LiberNovo in the future though is presets. So you actually remember which preset you have for which seating position, and then that way it either adjusts automatically or you can set it to preferred standards. And that's the main standout feature that makes this chair extremely unique. But there's also a lot of other things that I don't see a lot of people talk about. So a lot of the other components in the chair also adjust dynamically to your seating position. Like I mentioned earlier, the armrests actually move with you. So when you recline backwards, the armrests also go backwards. And for the setup build that we have over here, we're going to be in a reclined position a lot more than on a standard setup. I remember this comment from the last time I made a setup like this, and somebody was like, oh no, this is going to be like Wally. The way you enter that reclined position is also a little bit different than the chairs that I'm used to. So in the chairs that I had before this, everything would be locked and you'd have to unlock it to adjust it. With this one, you have this lever essentially, and you can tick it down into different modes. And that's basically how far you can recline backwards. So it doesn't lock at all. In my other chair, it doesn't recline backwards again. And of course, aside from all the little details that I've noticed over the past couple of weeks, it's also just one of the most comfortable chairs I've ever sat in. And some of that has to do with all of the adjustability, like the armrests adjust in all kinds of directions, which is something I do have a little bit critique about. The armrests, of course, lock into place in terms of height, but they don't lock into place in terms of rotation. And that is something I would like to see upgraded in the next version, because sometimes you put a lot of pressure on your armrests, right? If they just snap out of their position, that can be extremely annoying. But most of the comfort actually comes from the backrest. So it is made out of plastic, but it's really hard and durable plastic, so I have no doubt that this will last quite a long time. But it essentially gives you a lot of flexibility. When I'm leaning on this chair in a certain direction, the entire backrest moves with you. Another important factor to comfort is the foam that they use. So it's not necessarily really soft foam, it's not memory foam, it's just the right hardness. I personally really enjoy chairs that are a little bit firmer, and I don't like cushiony couches either where you just fall in and it doesn't activate you in any way. This feels like you're still awake. It doesn't feel like you're going to be falling asleep or get eaten by the thing, but it's still comfortable. So in relation to the setup build, this is one of the most important aspects to it. We need a place to sit comfortably, but of course we also need something that doesn't completely wreck our backs and actually supports us ergonomically. That's what this chair is going to offer us. Now, some notes about the ergonomic adjustability on the setup itself. I have 3D printed the keyboard inserts, still refining those, and I have also noticed that the entire width of it is actually a little bit too wide. I had measured this beforehand, but I would like this to be a little bit shorter, and we might actually order some extra parts so that we can shrink this component down in length, and then that way our arms are actually in a comfortable position here. So this is my old Secret Lab Titan, and this is the LiberNovo Omni, and I think there's going to be some people who are interested to know which one I prefer. And I've had the Secret Lab Titan for about 4 to 5 years now, and I sat in the LiberNovo Omni for about 2 weeks, moved back to this chair for like a day, and it just felt very off because the backrest doesn't really conform to your back. On top of that, the headrest has been a huge improvement for me as well, as I adjust it based on my seating position. And of course, you can dial that in a lot more than a pillow. So it comes in at a price of $1,000, which is quite expensive, of course, but it is a chair that you sit behind for, maybe 5 to 10 plus years. And it does undercut the competition quite a lot. So when you have the Herman Miller Embody, which is $2,000, this actually starts to look a lot more attractive. Now, in general, I can highly recommend it. It is one of the most ergonomic chairs I've sat in. It's comfortable, and I feel like it's actually supporting me in the ways that it needs to. I hope you enjoyed this video. Special thanks to LiberNovo for sending over the chair. I'll leave some links in the description down below.